Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Inspector Macklin's office. Gino Romero.
Oh, Gino. What did you find out? Did you locate any of them? Beneficiaries of the crash of Flight 6?
Si, senor. It was an affair most simple. A matter of making a telephone call to the airport.
Then they've left Mexico City.
Si, senor. The señorita Marvel Terrence has taken the 10 o'clock plane this morning to Acapulco.
Oh?
Senor Blakely has taken the 11:30 plane to Acapulco. Senor Ramon de Lagos has taken the 2 o'clock...
Plane to Acapulco. And what about Don Serrano?
Oh, with him, it's different. At 2:45, he's depart from Mexico City in a special charter plane.
Look, Gino, is there another flight to Acapulco this afternoon?
But, of course, at 4:30. Already I have 2 reservations.
Good. I'll meet you at the airport. What's the flight number? Gino.
I'm scared to think of it. This one is also called Flight 6.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Mexico City, to the Home Office, Guaranty Transport Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, the Flight 6 matter. Expense account continued. Item 9, $63.45. Incidentals in Mexico City and plane fare to Acapulco. One more of the sharp contrasts of Mexico. We left the stiff formality of the city behind us, the cool, thin air of the high plateau, and 50 minutes later, we stepped off the plane and into the steaming heat of the tropics. Barefoot tourists in shorts and barefoot natives in white cotton dungarees. Soft brown skins and flashing teeth. Mangoes, papayas, and the heady scent of tropical flowers. Blue sky, blue Pacific, and a burning sun. And a bay so bright and beautiful it breaks your heart. Acapulco. Gino Romero of the Department of Civil Air Transport knew his way around. So I waited for him while he checked his contacts, airport police, custom agents, limousine drivers. And in a few minutes, he'd made his rounds and rejoined me in front of the terminal.
It is an affair most simple, senor. A merely matter of ask the question and listen to the answer.
What did you find out, Gino?
The señorita Miss Terrence is stay at the Hotel Los Flamingos.
So?
Senor Blakely is also stay there. Ramon de Lagos is go to the Hotel Caleta. And Don Serrano is stay at the Club de Pesca. So you see?
Yeah, I see. All right, Gino, let's get going.
And where we are going is to the...
We'll put up at the Los Flamingos.
That is what I expect. Oh, she's very beautiful, senor.
True, but there are even better reasons for staying there.
¿Qué dice?
Well, in some way, I'm not yet sure how, I think this whole thing centers right around Marvel Terrence.
You think it's possible she's guilty of the crash of the Flight 6 to collect the insurance?
Maybe. Or she might have been used. Or maybe... Oh, I don't know, Gino. But it's about time we found out. Expense account, item 10, $1.50. Limousine fare from the airport to the hotel. The Flamingos is built on a point near the far end of the peninsula, set on a headland high above the white smother of surf below. And there, just before dusk, with the western sky a yellow blaze of glory beyond the far rim of the Pacific, I found her. She was sitting on the open terrace by the edge of the cliff. And once again, she was alone.
Sit down, Johnny.
Thanks.
I suppose I should be surprised, but I'm not, really. I guess I rather expected you.
Well, then wasn't it a waste of time to run away from Mexico City?
I've always run away, I guess.
Most of the time, I imagine you've been followed.
Or maybe I wanted to face you here, where it's so beautiful. Where perhaps you'd be able to understand me a little better.
Is that what you want, Marvel? To be understood?
Doesn't every woman?
I thought it was more often the man. And usually it's his wife who doesn't understand him, isn't it?
I see this isn't going to be just a social chat.
Oh, I doubt if it could ever be just a social chat. Not with you. You got too much impact for that.
A compliment?
That's a fact.
There's no place else in the world with sunsets like the ones here. Every evening. It's like there's another land way off there in the west. It's a strange, bright, golden land. And it keeps calling, coaxing.
Only in a little while, it'll disappear. And everything will be dark off there in the west.
Maybe you do understand me, Johnny. Maybe that's why I'm half afraid of you. Another reason I ran, maybe. I can be a fool, easy. Sort of hereditary defect, you might say.
Oh, that's a common affliction. Rarely fatal.
Rarely doesn't help. Once is enough. You know something? When I die, I want to be buried up there in the middle of a sunset.
It'd be kind of lonely, wouldn't it?
I think I've always been lonely. Do you know I haven't a single living relative in the world? Not one. I was 14 when my parents were killed in an auto accident. I stayed in a boarding school, and the bank handled the estate. When I was 21, they turned it over to me. And since then, I guess that's not what you want to know, though, is it?
Not exactly. Want to tell me about it, Marvel?
No. As a matter of fact, I don't. I don't even want to think about it.
It would be better if you would.
For whom? For me? I doubt it. I feel dirty, Johnny. Telling wouldn't change that.
It might.
Anything I'd tell you would be only suspicion, not fact.
Wouldn't?
Unless, of course, you're expecting a confession.
Do you have one to make?
No.
But you know who caused Flight 6 to blow up and why, don't you?
No. I can make a guess, that's all.
Like to tell me that guess?
You'll find out soon enough, Johnny, and I'd rather it didn't come from me.
11 people have died, Marvel.
I know.
10 on the plane that crashed, and the baggage handler who was murdered later, and
You
whoever...
don't have to remind me of it. I couldn't forget it if I wanted to. I told you how I felt, now drop it, Johnny.
All right.
I didn't know. That's all I can claim. I just didn't know.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Look. It's dark out there now. And sunset's gone.
There's always another one.
I wonder.
Have you ever met Don Serrano, brother-in-law of Ramon de Lagos?
No, but he was pointed out to me.
Did you see him at the airport the night Flight 6 was blown up?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Did you see Ramon?
No.
Did he know you'd canceled your reservation that night?
He didn't even know I had one.
Have Ramon and Bill Blakely ever met?
Yes, they met. And detested each other on sight.
Well, that's understandable in view of the circumstances.
Oh, I guess, but why are people like they are?
Did you arrange for Blakely to follow you here?
I didn't tell anybody I was coming.
And he was a good guesser. So was Ramon and Don Serrano.
I know. They're all here. Why? They don't even know me. They don't want to know me. Not in any real way, but they're here.
Oh, yeah, they're here. And I think you ought to tell me what you know, Marvel.
Tomorrow, maybe. Not tonight. Let me have just one night, Johnny.
All right.
Take me to dinner. Dance with me. Laugh with me. Give me just one evening. Will you, Johnny?
Sure. And thank my lucky star for the chance.
You're sweet. I'm saying it now. Without any strings. No matter how things work out. I'll still mean it. You're a sweet guy, Johnny. Give me time to change.
I went to my room and made 2 phone calls while I waited for her. The operator at the Club de Pesca informed me that Don Serrano was not in. The clerk at the Hotel Caleta said the same thing about Ramon de Lagos. I didn't leave my name with either of them. Bill Blakely was staying in room 23, a few doors on down the terrace, so I decided to go have a talk with him before I went out to dinner with Marvel Terrence. But as it happened, I didn't have to go to that much trouble. Yeah, who is it?
Blakely, I'd like to talk to you.
Come on in.
Do you always cover your visitors with a gun?
Only when I spot them listening outside my door.
I don't know
I
what
saw
you're...
your shadow against the shutter there. You've been standing outside for the last 5 minutes, Blakely. You listened to me make a couple of phone calls. Did you learn anything you wanted to know?
Dollar, suppose you were suspected of sabotaging an airliner and killing 10 people. Wouldn't you want to know what kind of a case was being built up against you?
What makes you think you're under suspicion, Blakely?
I know I am. Ed Palmer and Jim Rourke were my partners. When they died on that plane, I became sole owner of the firm. There's the motive. I've got a warehouse full of dynamite in Mexico City. There's the method.
I can go even farther than that.
What do you mean?
You mentioned one motive. Why didn't you mention the other one?
What other one?
Marvel Terrence. That crash not only eliminated a pair of business partners, it wiped out a couple of rivals.
Just one thing wrong with that, Dollar. Marvel had a reservation on that plane herself. She only decided at the last minute not to go. I wouldn't have been gaining much if I'd killed her along with my rivals, as you call them.
Uh-huh. Maybe that's why you cornered her at the airport and argued her out of going.
Yes, I did talk her out of the trip. But not because I'd planted an explosive on board.
How do you feel about her, Blakely?
I'd give my left arm. It wouldn't do any good. I'm just not the guy. I never have been and never will be. Maybe you are. She says she's having dinner with you tonight.
That's right. She is.
How do you feel about her, Dollar?
I don't know. Expense account item 11, $26.40. Taxis, dinner, drinks, and dancing for two. The Copacabana with its blue lights and the surf right at your feet and a million stars low enough to touch. The warm water of the bay lapping softly at the pilings. The Las Americas, the Casablanca. Music, champagne, and the tropic night. And then finally, much later.
Good night, Johnny, and thank you. Tonight, for the first time I can remember, I wasn't alone.
And then, only an hour afterward, I was wakened out of a sound sleep.
Senor Dollar.
Right with you, Gino. What was it?
It's a senorita, I think.
She's a number 8. Come on. But she wasn't a number 8. Her door was standing open and the room was empty. We searched the terrace out toward the edge of the cliff where I talked with her at sunset. We saw the broken section of railing and found one of her slippers and a pack of her cigarettes lying nearby. In pitch darkness, we slid and scrambled down the steep path to the beach. And there by the edge of the surf, we found her. The warm foam reached out for her, as though to carry her away, to that last sunset she'd loved so much. She looked very beautiful, but very much alone. As alone and as lonely as death.
Now, here's our star to tell you about the final intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, a desperate killer is cornered and strikes back in a deadly counterattack. Final showdown. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.